Good afternoon, Abraham.
Yes.
Since September 11, I find that my senses are very, very heightened and my emotions are extremely heightened, mostly in a positive way. I've heard you say a number of times that you can't have two opposing emotions at the same time. And it feels to me like I am. And it's centered around the fact that I don't believe in military retaliation, and the fact that my son, whom I love more than my own life, is on active duty in the United States Marine Corps, and he is stationed in Yuma, Arizona, where he is getting desert experience. My love for him prompts me to support him in every way that I possibly can. And I know that I can't really create his experience for him. What kind of help or advice can you give to me?
Well, do you believe that he is loving his life?
I believe that he is loving parts of his life.
And so, understanding that you are the creator of your own experience, and given the things that are happening that you might think about, you worry that he might attract something that would not please him or you?
I worry that he might unknowingly attract something that would not please him.
Then the next question is, and what is my power of influence? Since I cannot create in someone else's experience, if I hold someone as my strong point of focus, can I influence their experience for better or for worse? And we say, certainly you can influence someone's experience for better as you hold them as your object of attention while you feel good while you do it. Now, before you go further, we want to hear more from you, but let's tap back into some of the things that we were talking about earlier, where we were talking to a father who was wanting to guide his children. And let's revisit what we were saying to someone who would be talking to a very young child. What was the encouragement that we gave him to soothe his child into his connection with his own guidance system? The reason that it feels to you that you have some contradictory vibrations going on is because, as you began, you said to us, I don't believe in military retaliation, and yet I have a son whose job right now, it seems, is going to be exactly that. So it seems that I am at odds with the very thing he does. And the at odds part of your relationship cannot be activated at the same time of your anticipation of good things happening. Right. And you don't have to agree with everything that anyone does, but you do have to take your attention off of the part of it that activates the opposing vibration within you. In other words, we do not think that it's ever possible for any parent to look at any child and be at one with every choice that they are making. But at the same time, we do think it is possible for a parent to look at a child and be at absolute one with them thriving and living happily ever after. In other words, you do not have to agree with the details of his work or the details of what the greater government is about. In other words, you don't have to be at one with all of that. Your mission here, just as the parent that we talked to earlier, is to hold your child as your object of attention at the same time that you stay connected to source energy. And in doing so, that's the way you soothe them into source energy. So that what flows forth from you is connecting to source energy influence rather than disconnecting. So as you let that be your strongest decision, that's the thing that you most want to do, then you find that those issues that you have in disagreement aren't the issues that you want to come up, because you cannot debate your side of the issue and be that soother back into source energy. Now, many would say, well, you mean I have to give up what I believe in? In other words, it feels like I can't believe what I really believe in and be a soother too, and I'd like to be both. And we say, just let it be all right that people choose different thoughts or that people choose different actions. You're not ever going to get the world or even your own son to agree with you about everything. And let your dominant intent be to connect to source energy, especially when you are holding those you love as your object of attention. And watch how swimmingly it will all work out for you.
Even stronger than things that he has set in motion from a long time ago over a lot of, not just the time-wise, but intensity. I mean, he has a very strong intensity concerning, military things and his place in that.
Do not make the assumption that because someone is involved in the military and they are, in fact, gathering resources to have retaliation against something, do not assume that under those conditions that the pushing against vibration is the only vibration that is within him. In other words, if you have two football teams on the field, it is logical to assume that they are both pushing against the other in order to win the game. Or two armies on a battlefield, it is logical to believe that they are both pushing against each other in order to win the game. But it is not only the pushing against each other that is part of the battle, it is the fighting for something that they believe in. Right. There are connecting energies on both sides of the battle. You get a sense of what we're talking about? Very often, people think, as they listen to Abraham or Gandhi or any of the number of voices that speak out about non-resistance, or in greater terms we are saying in allowing the source energy to flow, people often assume that what we're saying is, don't stand up for anything that you believe in, and don't do anything in the direction of what you believe in. And that is not our message at all. Our message is, don't let the differences that you feel in someone else's philosophy be your object of attention so much that you push against the differences and therefore disempower yourself. There is a place for harmony within all of this. In other words, imagine your son doing a really good job at what he does, and imagine him discovering who he is, and imagine him having exposure to experience that make him come to his own conclusions, and imagine him thriving as so many have done before him. It is a very hard job when any parent decides that they have to control the world in any way in order to assure the well-being of their child. And under circumstances like this, you just finally have to come to the place that we've always wanted you to be at anyway, where you finally say, hey, it's not my job. I couldn't do it if I tried. I cannot control the world. I cannot decide what the United States foreign policy is going to be. It's not my job. These are not my decisions to make. Now let's see, what are my decisions to make? Oh yes, it is my decision that I'm going to find something that I can feel good about as I think about here and now. And there are many who say, oh, well, what a paltry little assignment that is. In other words, there are world issues going on, and I have to bring myself back into the details of my own physical experience. And we say, yes, right there where all of your power is. And anything that you hold as your object of attention, once you've realigned with who you are, benefits by your attention to it. Everything. That is always true, you see. We think the dilemma that you were feeling is, you've really brought it home. In other words, not only do you not believe in retaliation, but here you have a son that's getting poised for the very retaliation you do not believe in. It's like the perfect cross purposes. And so it is the perfect opportunity for us to say, you can love your son while you don't agree with part of his purpose. But you can agree with his patriotism. You can agree with his love of country. You can agree with his wanting to do a good job. You can agree with his staying true to what he believes. You can agree with his infusion of source energy that will come as he identifies what he is wanting. You can agree to his exposure to experience that's going to help him to clarify. In other words, there's so much about who he is now and who he has been and who he is becoming that you are in utter agreement with. So pick and choose those things carefully, and you'll be able to feel. We are not wanting to guide you so that you do not push against your retaliating government. Or we're not wanting to guide you so that you do not push against your retaliating son who is part of your retaliating government's retaliating plan. We're wanting to assist you in understanding that it's all right for you to hold an opinion that disagrees with the opinion of someone you love, and still possible for you to find the pure vibration of someone you love. And when you understand that, you will be in this place of pure allowing. From your source energy perspective, you never said, I'll go forth and gather around me those who always agree with me. Nor did you say, I'll go forth and only love those who do. You see. And so maybe it is the first step in more coming to understand that you can love those who have differences, no matter what side of the line they're standing on. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.